just entered the bear crawling nation on the No Agenda Stream.
This is R. Mordant Mon, and welcome to the other side of live. Welcome everyone to the #1 late night Movin On-Up motivational show, otherwise known as the other side of live. Tonight's working title is It's the Little Things, Yo. Tonight we are live from Apple Valley, Minnesota, and the Bear's Den in Monticello, Georgia. And deep in the Bear's Den is the dark side of positive, Harv McFall. Say hello, Charles.
I want everyone to know I didn't add the yo to this one. He did that. That wasn't me this time.
I thought it added a little bit of panache.
I thought all the little things in life. Yeah. It's very PBS. And you're like, all the little things, yo. I'm like, okay, don't scare me. Quit yelling.
It's a working title. It could be It's the Little Things. I think it's the Little Things. But if you don't like yo, we'll drop the yo.
Just be true to yourself. Quit being such a little girl about it. How bad do you want it?
What?
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 You wound me, sir.
I try.
So, before we get into everything, let's take care of a little bit of business. We received an email from somebody, and we wanted to share it.
I'm supposed to have that ready, aren't I?
What?
I'm supposed to have that ready to go, aren't I?
And it's not ready?
I got a bunch of other messages pulled up, just not that one.
So last week, the show was Tosol number 56, How to Build a Better Goal Successfully. You got it? Okay.
Yeah. So, no, you're right, though. Go ahead and talk about last week, because this email plays into... Well, no, I guess it doesn't. Doesn't matter. Here's the email. You like to hear it?
It's the little things, yo.
So it's not just about little things going on in our life, because that's kind of the inspiration was, I just came off of the speech. We've got emails and feedback and reading the book, and you're reading the book. But it's also about the little things that get us down and the little things that pump us up. So tonight, before we get into this email, we want to put up the phone number so that you can call in and share your little things in life that either bring you up and made you happy right now, or that might be bringing you down and maybe you need some perspective, or you just need to share with the world so we can wallow in it together. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Would you like me to read the email now, sir?
That might be best, unless you wanted to give out the phone number that you just talked about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm used to you doing the phone number. It's a volleyball thing. I set it up, you spike it.
That phone number is 218-632-1724. We will tell it to you again after the email.
All right. This is from Chris, and it came through the website, I do believe. Even if it didn't, I'm going to say it did. So you can go to the website and email us, theothersideoflive.com. Mordant. Yeah, okay. Mordant. I discovered your blog and consequently... See, this is what happens when I make fun of somebody. The universe smacks me in the tongue. I discovered your blog and consequently Tosol a little over a week ago, and I deeply respect what you and Charles are doing. I'm in Burnsville, Minnesota, and when I listened to your show about building better goals yesterday, I was surprised to learn that you were right next door to me in Apple Valley. Woo-woo! I added the woo-woo because you can't say exclamation point because that doesn't sound exciting. Right. You definitely have a wealth of wisdom to share, and I'm thrilled to see you continually coming out with more. My wife and I transitioned from college to the working world about a year ago, and this has presented us with many new challenges. However, we're still trucking onward with the knowledge that we are building a better future. Your knowledge is giving me hope to make changes and live a life of bigger, better, better, more. Yeah. Insert expletive here. That was awesome. On a side note, you and Charles mentioned in an episode a few months back that you're looking for a webmaster. I'm a web developer, and I think I could lend a hand if you're still looking for one, as we always are. I would be happy to help. Thanks, and keep being awesome, Chris.
I thought that was awesome. Actually, it came through on my Mordant World email, and I wanted to make sure that it got to the both of us, that you had a shot at looking at that, because I thought it was more of a Tosol thing than just the Mordant World thing. So that was very nice. I was nigh unto touched by that email.
I was excited too when you sent that. I was like, that's a really cool email. Even though he took 15 words to say my name, I'm okay with that. Yep.
One day you will no longer be and Charles.
No, one day I'll be like, dear Charles, are you happy now? Okay, Mordant. So, it's good. I mock.
You took care of one of your goals. At least you took care of one of our goals this week. You were on a panel. You were speaking. Hmm? They were not saying, excuse me, Charles, what does Mordant feel about this? No, they were asking you questions.
This is true. They're going, hey, excuse me, can you move out of the way so I can talk to Alex, the movie guy? Alex, you were so awesome. It kind of actually did go that way a little bit. But it was Alex's show. It was awesome. It was fun.
You know what? It's the little things, Joe.
It's the little things, baby. But now that you brought it up, last week we talked about goals. If you don't know that, go to the other side of live, listen to it. That's all they need to know, right? Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, I did say that I was going to give the phone number again, and my OCD brain is making me go 218-632-1724. Okay, I'm done.
All right. No, you're right, because I forgot. So, can you tell this is getting down to the point where it's my only show in the week? So it's like, there you go. So, yeah, we talked about goals, and goal setting, one of them was to have public venue speaking 6 times by the end of next year, I believe it is. And that's one of our joint goals. Not that we count it together, but we both have the exact same goal worded the same way. And so, yeah, I appeared at AleCon and met a lot of really, really cool people and had a really great experience. It was a good time with Alex. Alex, the movie guy, SeventhRowCenter.com is where you can find him. We will be getting the audio from that soon. Actually, I just got an email from Dolph, who is Wicked Pete and the 3/4 Ale.
You dropped off for a second, and now you're back.
Interesting. Love you, Skype. Thank you. And by the way, I did Google VoIP, which is Voice over Internet Protocols. VoIP better than Skype, and only got links from 2009. So I think we're kind of just stuck with what we're doing until you decide to make residence in the Bears Den every Tuesday night like you should.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
You do. So I met Dolph, and he was awesome, and there's a lot of great panels. And it was a great experience. But something I wanted to bring up, because you said you had an answer to it, was I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be visualize the future. And the have it now principle from Double Your Income, from Success Freaks. And you do your YouTube videos, and you do this speech, and that's your speech in front of 1,000 people. And it doesn't matter how many people see it. In your mind, that's your speech in front of 1,000 people. I'm thinking this, and I'm sitting at the table, and I go to Instagram, and I take a shot of the 8 or so people that were in the room, and I Twittered it out. I said, I'm speaking to my thousands. And I think I even said that at one point because somebody, I don't remember who, somebody said something about being a small crowd, but a good crowd. I said, this is a crowd of thousands, man. This is a big crowd. I love it. But every time I mention that, every time, live and on Twitter, it got taken negatively. Man, I got flashbacked by people going, it's a great crowd. Why, don't worry about it. Oh, it looks like fun. And even at the table, like, it's a quantity crowd, or a quality crowd, not a quantity crowd. I'm like, why is nobody following me here? Why does nobody get that I'm actually being positive and expanding to a bigger universe? I didn't understand.
I think it's because, Anthony Robbins says communication comes in the response you get. So if you say a certain thing and somebody responds as if you said something else, to them that's what you meant. That was what your communication was. So it's like setting up a joke. Sometimes we'll cut to the punchline because in our brains, our stream of consciousness, we've already tracked the joke, and then you expect the audience. Sometimes I expect the audience to be in my headspace to get the same things that I get. So I'll cut to the punchline. And there won't be there won't be laughter. And later on, Ron will come up and go, "Dude, you have to set up the joke. You have to say blah 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 blah, and then hit the punchline." For you did not set up the joke. You didn't. These people have no idea what that means. Although it has embedded itself in a neural pathway in your brain, they have no clue. To them, it does sound like you're dissing the audience. And because communication happens in the response you get, that's really what's happening. So you have to find another way to tell people what's going on so that they understand. It's like when I first stopped drinking and I told people, hey, I'm not drinking anymore. And I would see them back away, or just a wall would come up between us and kind of like, well, I guess we're not hanging out. I had to find a way to be able to tell them that without insulting them and without letting them know that it's fine. What you're drinking, it's fine. So, my response is, but I hang out with drinkers, so you're good. I make a joke out of it. It explains to them that what my situation is, and it lets them know that I'm okay with their situation. So they're in on the joke, quote unquote joke. Same thing has to happen here.
So I understand. So I need to communicate better and tell you, go listen to all the other side of lies, and you'll see where we're coming from. Freak nuts.
That I think you need to do anyway, so that they will show up.
True, but I had a great time. It was a blast, and Alex told me when we got there, he helped me find the place, and we're hanging out and checking out different panels, and we separated for a little bit because he wanted to see something else, and I was checking out the panels, but he said, I've got a shirt change before before we do our panel. And so I'm sitting there, and I met some really amazing people, and I'm talking to them after their panel right before ours. And honestly, not because I wanted to diss the panel, but I got so interested in talking with these people. And I actually got their cards. I told you about this earlier today, that we hope to have them on as guests of The Other Side of Live. We got to talking about The Other Side of Live and what we do here, and I got their information, which is a big deal. We can explain that later on maybe, but I was so interested in talking to them, and they were moving the conversation across the street to the bar. I was like, I want to come with you and have a beer and keep talking for a couple hours, but I have to go do this panel now. And it was a good panel, but it was a great experience meeting all these people and making lots of connections. And I look over, and Alex is coming up to do the panel, and he comes up to me, and he's wearing a Green Lantern t-shirt, which cracked me up, because that's been probably the biggest point of our contention. Is he hated the Green Lantern movie. He loves the comic books. He's a fanboy. He hated the movie. I loved the movie. Not a fan of the comics. So that's been a fun needle point between the two of us, poking the bear and poking the movie guy. And he planned ahead and knew that he would get me to laugh by wearing this t-shirt, and he did. It cracked me up. It was awesome.
That is awesome. In case you have not noticed, the theme of tonight with It's the Little Things, Yo. Sometimes it's the little bad things, sometimes it's the little good things, but it's always the little things that, and we're going to share a bunch of the minutia that we are going through in our lives. At least that's what I believe what the show is about when Charles brought this to me.
Right. Oh, yeah.
All right, awesome.
Do you have any questions about the panel or anything like that?
Me personally?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
How was it? How was your experience, man? Come on.
I was jazzed. I went in and I sat down, and it was just like doing a show with you, or doing the show, the live show in Atlanta this past spring, where it really, honestly, it doesn't feel like it mattered whether it truly was a room full of thousands or if it was two people, which it easily could have been two people, and it wasn't. And they were in an active crowd. And I think how Dolph put it, Dolph said the crowds have been small but friendly. And what he meant by that was they were very active with the questions and interacting with you and and they were, indeed. It was a very good time. Alex told some great stories. Art Bell of Art Bell at Night. Art Howard. Art Bell is somebody else. Art Bell is Coast to Coast. Art Howard of Art Howard at Night was the third panelist and a friend of Alex's, and he shared some different experiences, and it was a good time. And talking about the little things, that shirt, man, that little thing was awesome. It really set the whole tone. It really was amazing, and
now,
good time.
Was most of AleCon lightly attended, or was it just the podcast thing? Did they just not get it? What was going on with that?
I think a little of both. I think the crowds come out at night. That's when they scheduled the bigger bands to play. I think a lot of people didn't quite understand that's an all-day thing. Some of the panels had a lot more attendance. I'd say a lot more, by 15, 20 people versus 8 or so. I think that more people, there was a break, basically a dinner break, and that's when I ended up leaving. My back was killing me. But after that, they were setting up for the bands, and they were filling the stage with band equipment, and the night before they had a band play, and I think the bigger crowds were coming out after 6, and this was mid-afternoon on a Saturday for artsy people, not so much. And some people who were on panels who I got to talking to didn't stay for one reason or the other after their panel. One had to go home, take care of his kids. The other guys, they left to go have a beer and talk shop. You know, they built props for movies and that kind of thing. So I think it was both. And at a certain time in the day was when they started having live shows compete with panels. So that split the crowd. So the crowd was only 30 people strong at best. And then now you're splitting that between two events. And I think part of it was people didn't get podcasting. I went out in the hallway, made a big funny announcement about, we're about to do the podcasting panel. You don't know what that is, but don't you want to know? It's going to change your life or something like that. And I think it drew in one or two more people, but I think for the most part, they just didn't understand it.
Did you change those two people that came in? Those two extra people. Did you change your lives?
Oh God, yeah. We had a Benny Hill moment where Benny Hinn moment, not
Benny Hill moment. Yeah,
girls in lingerie ran around. It was awesome. No, I meant the Benny Hill, the Lord of podcast. Benny Hinn is where I was going with that.
That was awesome, dude. My Benny Hill moment.
So and like I said, we'll get the audio. Dolph hit me up tonight and said he's got to check the audio, but he's going to be getting the files to me, and you'll hear me really pushing the positive thinking agenda, as it were. As I even said at one moment, why aren't you out there changing the world? You know, and it was a very interesting gimmick. 'Cause you had Art Howard, who really kind of said, you know, cheap advertising rates more than I was comfortable with. Then you had Alex, who was, I do podcasting, I do movies, I love telling stories, and he told stories. And you had me, who was about getting you into it and being the social media missionary, as you call me. And it was an interesting run of stories there.
Right. That sounds like you had a good time then. It was a good experience.
And I got to hear the Yoo-Hoo bottle story, which has been widely pimped out and never told. So there you go.
Okay. What was up with your back, man?
I don't know. Okay, so now before we do that, we're talking about goals, because I'll forget if we don't do this. So I wanted to talk about last week, because talking about goals and coming off of that got me into doing some other things, and then gets me into the back. But last week we talked about goals, and one of my friends has gotten recently turned on to The Other Side of Live and listening to it. He listens to it openly in his office, like on speaker, so anybody coming by hears it, and he's talking about it. But he hit me today, because you and I were a little, coming off of the goal show, we were a little wary, because you felt it was dry, you know, we lost connections. It didn't feel as smooth as some of our other shows, but he hit me up and said, and this goal show couldn't come at a better time in my life right now. There you go again, coming into my life with wisdom and knowledge to help me see the other side of what I need to do for me and others in my life. So there you go. It's a Dear Charles letter. Ha ha. But that's Larry Doig up in Minnesota. We're getting a lot of Minnesotans tonight. That's a cool thing. So he's actually supposed to be tuning in live this evening with his girlfriend and getting her turned on to the show. Hopefully, and he's trying to pass the word on. But I thought you should hear that. And I've seen a lot of that on Facebook and around that the goal show came at a time. And would you like to read the Facebook message, or shall I?
I can do it because I would like to. We got a Facebook message from our good friend Nolan Overton, the Noverton, and he was referencing last week's episode. Follow-up question discussion on episode 56, goals. I loved that episode, by the way. Okay. My question/discussion topic number 6, the dreaded per goal. What are your feelings on the difference between setting a goal versus setting a routine? Routines are a very important part of success, so I have come to understand. But if setting a per goal, such as work out 3 times per week or make a conference call once per week, is not an effective goal, does this contradict routine/habit setting? Once a per action is set into routine habit, I understand it should no longer be a goal, though. Or are the goals that were being discussed on a much grander scale than just routine setting? I am curious to know the thoughts you two have specifically on the next, the other side of live, if that is easier. Mind you, I was listening to it at work, so if I missed that part in number 56, please let me know, and I'll re-listen more carefully, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you missed it. Re-listen more carefully.
I would like to recommend you set a goal of 1 question per post, sir, and not 5 minutes. A lot of my friends will understand this. 5 minutes is a limit, not a goal. So there you go. So take that. I think he has some great questions here.
Yeah, the thing that with me, when he starts talking about working out, then I got to jump in. I have a thing, there's that 3 times per week thing. I got to get in 3. I don't do that. I like to work out either 3 or 4 times, but often my schedule won't let it. And because I'm a big fan of hitting every muscle group 1 time, which means that when I work on my biceps, I work on them once a week. That's it. When I work on my tricep once a week, I work on my hamstrings once a week, quads once a week. And I can split all those up. So it doesn't matter to me if I'm working out 3 times a week, which is ideal for me, because 4 times is a little long, although that's probably better for my body. It doesn't matter if I'm working out 3 times a week or twice a week, or even on a very rare occasion, once a week, because as long as I as long as I cover everything, I'm good to go. Sometimes I'll miss a body part as well, or I'll miss one of my days. Last week, I missed back and biceps. So the first thing that I hit today, was back and biceps. So it doesn't really matter as far as that goes, as long as you set yourself up to succeed with whatever your goal really is. If you're like, I'm going to do this many every week, and you miss the first week, then you're not able to do it. If I do 5, if I run 5 times, a week, and you run 4 times that first week, well, you failed then. And then what happens for the rest of the month? That's the hard thing. Now, setting a routine is a little different. It's more like with your business or once you get things going. I'm going to hand the talking stick to you because I feel like I'm
I think building routine is a habit. Building goals. And this leads right into my back and talking about that in a minute. But because I've been listening to the Secret Teachers recorded live, because one of the goals is I will listen to at least 6 more books. Stupid Skype. I feel like the Secret Teachers talk about building habits, doing something for 30 days. And I think that's when the purr comes in, is what he's talking about, building the routines, building habits, because you want to build it into your muscle memory, where to me, my interpretation of a goal is this is a thing. It's measurable, it's quantifiable, it's clearly laid out, we can set a path to it, whereas habits are just something you do till it's automatic. Now, I know sometimes your goals will turn into habits. Like I was listening to Harv Eker tonight. That's one of the notes, the money exercise. But he's talking about how rich people, the millionaire mind, thinks of, I can be wealthy and spiritual at the same time, where a lot of people don't think that way. But that's a habit that's built over time. They had to set goals to reach. I think they're different. I think you don't put a purr in a goal, but if you're trying to build that habit, I'm going to smoke 1 less cigarette per day. You can set the goal of, I'm going to smoke clean air, for a week or whatever. I'm going to have, whatever the goal is, but you can build that habit. The step to the goal maybe can be your purr. In order to smoke 1 less, or in order to smoke cleaner air. Gosh darn it, Andy Griffith. This whole no cussing thing gets me down sometimes. the whole taking the steps to the goal of breathing cleaner air, you can say, okay, my task today is to smoke 1 less cigarette, or to smoke 1 less cigarette per day. But you don't set that as a goal, because if you miss that, then you break it. But that's how you build that muscle memory. Does that make sense? Am I off here?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a hard time with his question, because I got lost in the middle of it. So I understand why the dreaded purr thing happens. I understand when we talked about it last week, and I agree with it, because you don't want to set yourself up to fail no matter what. Routines are great. You want to get to a point where you're creating habits where these things are happening naturally. So you don't have to think about it when you're riding a bike, because you know how to ride a bike. You don't have to think about balancing and the handlebars and where the tires go and where you should look, because you're doing all that stuff naturally, and your brain can check out a little bit more and you can concentrate on other stuff. I'm reading a book called The Power of Habits. I think it's The Power of Habits or The Power of the Habit. And it was talking about where they were examining with mice when they would run a maze and seeing how much of their brain, when they first start running the maze and they're sniffing around, they're trying to find the chocolate. And they can't find it, and their brain is extremely active, and then they finally find the chocolate. Now, they do that enough times where they know that the chocolate's always over here. They notice that the brain checks out. It does not concentrate because it already knows this thing. It's become a habit. It's become a routine. So the brain is free to work on other stuff. The same thing is true in our lives, as when we first are learning to do something. Let's say you're learning to do a dance. You're learning to do the salsa, which I have not mastered yet. There's a bunch of different things. Your feet are moving one way. Your arms are moving another way. Your hips are moving another way to the music. All those things, and you're doing it god awful, and your brain is really active. It's very good for your brain because you're forming new neural pathways. Now, once you've mastered that, you can begin to think about other things. Your body is moving naturally. You can begin putting emotion in it. You can throw facial expression. If you're an actor and it's part of a scene, you can act as that character doing that dance, something that John Travolta always did. Whenever he was doing a dance, he was not John Travolta playing a part doing this dance. He was always that character, how that character would dance. That's one of the things he was so phenomenal at this. So that's one of the benefits for a routine. But the thing with the purge, you just don't want to set yourself up to fail, which is what he is talking about, which is what Raymond Aaron is talking about. And I hope that answers his question, because otherwise I'm a little bit more lost.
Well, speaking of the little things that can get you down, apparently you're having some internet issuage on your side, because I'm losing you in Skype a little bit, but the chat room's saying they're losing you as well. Just wanted you to be aware that it's kind of bumpity.
All right. So nobody can hear me?
No, it's
hopefully it's being recorded.
Yeah, well, you're recording it on your side.
The little things.
It's the little things.
Yeah.
So, talking about The Secret, and of course in The Secret it talks about the law of attraction, how you attract everything. And I'm trying to put that to use. I'm trying to master that. I am the master of my destiny. Right? What you think about, you bring about. That one I've been on for a long time. Christians, what do you say? Asking ye shall receive. Seeking ye shall find. Knock and the door will be opened unto you. That's the verse in Matthew. Okay? To me, it's the same thing. It's not that God won't give it to you, but God even says, if you don't ask, I have this abundance in heaven, I can't give it to you if you don't ask for it. It's the law of attraction. All right? And so I'm very positive about the event coming up on Friday. This is Friday. I'm listening to this stuff. I'm thinking, all right, man, what's bigger, better, more? Dragon Con's going to pull us in, because you can't get in as a speaker to Dragon Con right now. That's been closed. So to get into Dragon Con would be, man, universe opening up doors, blah, blah, blah. And I am focusing on all this positive. And Friday morning, I go to literally put down this light object on the floor, and all of a sudden get this massive twinge in the lower part of my back. And I've had it before. I call this, it's basically sciatica. However, I say basically because I've never been diagnosed, but all the symptoms match up. And it's just where something pinches, and it gets sore for a while. It hurts to sit down, pain down my legs, yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden I have this pain. And I'm like, that sucks. How did I attract this? And I'm going to Atlanta, and it's bugging me. And I get to Atlanta, and it's bugging me. And I go through the day, and I'm taking Motrin and stuff. It's just not going away. And that's something I asked you, Mordant. It's like, if I'm being so positive, if I'm actually focusing on being happy, and I was happy. I'm putting out good vibes. Alex even made me laugh even more than I was already having a great time. If I'm being positive, how am I attracting this pain, if that's the way this works?
Well, I'm not, and I'm going to start this off by saying not necessarily in this situation. We're going to get back to this situation. A lot of people, I've had people come up to me and go, look, I'm trying to be positive, and everything's, I'm imaging things being successful, and it's, and all the negativity keeps happening to me. Why is that? It's like, well, something I read from either W. Clement Stone or Napoleon Hill in one of their books, that it's just like you've got this big block of negative, this big blog of negativity, whether it's subconscious or not. And you just put this little smear of positive on it, and you expect suddenly the world to change. It takes time for that stuff to grow back. It takes time for that to happen. So did you catch out any of that, or did I lose you for a little bit?
No, I got you.
Right. Now, how did you attract this twinge? How did you attract that? Well, maybe you going to this event is not what attracted the twinge. You thinking positively is not what attracted the twinge. Maybe you've been spending quite a bit of time, maybe you exercised something or did something, and that muscle, and I'm not sure how sciatica works, whatever happened, and that attracted, maybe it's all these other events that you've been doing in your past that attracted that. Or perhaps it's just the universe going, I want you to know you have this so you can deal with it. Maybe that's why it's there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a warning system. Or maybe, it ties into the law of attraction as well, saying, listen, you're just trying this out. I want you to exercise this muscle. It's not going to be easy. Work on it some more. Maybe it's just some subtle nuance. If we could all just think and make things happen, if we could all tap into the divine and our belief and make things happen, we would have no need for all of these lessons. And I think that part of what we are here is to learn to be creators, to create a life for ourselves, to have those lessons. So it's the little things, because every once in a while we will have technical difficulties, and then it has to be dealt with. And I believe I'm calling Charles now. Hopefully he's going to join us one more time.
All right.
Are you back?
I am.
Oh, excellent.
Okay. I was trying to say, but it was just echoing so bad I couldn't do it. We had to reset. Sometimes you have to do that in life, right? You just have to take a breath, reset, clear your energy. I don't know.
Sometimes, and let me go on to that for a second. Sometimes
right.
things are happening are so heinous, or they're so, oh God, this is annoying me with the Skype thing, that it forces you to find a fix for it. Sometimes, why do I keep getting a flat tire? Why does this keep happening to me? Well, because you got bald tires, dude. Fix your tires. Get new tires. It's not that the universe is out to get you. It's trying to let you know before you have a huge accident that you need to take care of business. Okay. Same thing with the Skype issue. This is going to keep happening. I have very, sketchy internet here. Maybe the universe is going, dude, you need to do this somewhere else. And maybe it has another reason for that. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe it's just the fact that so that we deal with it so that when it does happen again, it's no big deal and we can be calm throughout of it instead of going, oh no, my God, like I did in the first few shows that I did. It's the little things, and they're all there to help you learn, whether they're good or positive or negative. It's the little things that help us grow. It's the little things that help edge us along. Yes, we're moving forward to our big goals. Yes, we're having a great time with our families and everything's like that. But it's the little things that we remember. It's the smile of our children.
So
it's holding hands with our wives
in Utah. So if you have an up or a down or an answer to what we're talking about, the chat room is giving some good feedback here. But you know what? I'm not going to read that feedback because we want to hear from you. 218. No, okay, I read it. I'm not going to read it out loud. I'm sorry. That sounded really snooty. No, I did read it. I acknowledge you. I just like to hear from you. 218-632-1724 is how you get your call in on the line tonight. And I wanted to, before we go on further, because I'm still learning about the attraction and how to work it, and even faith in Christ and what that really means and that kind of thing. And we're working on it. That's why we ask these things here. But earlier on, I wanted to say, talking about our gold show, I saw Casey Westerfeld in the chat room put in that the gold show actually changed her life this week. Applying the principles of what we talked about, she redid her goals and she got things done and moved forward this week. And it was an instant change in her life. And that, I want to say, that's awesome.
That is awesome. I'm going to talk about another little thing. I just did the Bristol Renaissance Fair, and this is going to be a scoop that I'm not sharing anywhere else. We did our third annual. Ron called it our third annual audition, because we're trying to get there longer than just one weekend. And everything looked really, really, really good. They put us on the main stage, and it's a little bit more removed from the audience than we're used to, but we figured it'd be no big deal. We did our first show, and they laughed at stuff that we're not used to them laughing at, and they didn't laugh at things that we were used to them laughing at. And the first 2 shows were pretty cool. The third show, we felt like we were not connecting, and they were just sitting there, and they'd been there for, it didn't seem like we really connected at all on it. So we all went back to Ron's trailer, and I'm lying on the floor, and Jeff is on the couch, and we're all just being quiet. Even Ron's wife, Heather, said, you guys looked really, really defeated. So then we decided when we had our last show, we did Robin Hood those first three times because we didn't want to do anything too racy until the Rated R show. And then we decided, you know what? We're going to do the Rated R show. We're going to pull it back a little bit, but this is our comfort zone. Let's try it. And there were a lot of people from Minnesota already there, so they were kind of expecting it. It went great. Fantastic. Later that night, and it was just like, oh, we needed to have that. Later that night, I'm walking through the festival, and one of the owners of the festival, who we did not think was there, I walked by her, and she looked at me, and she pointed at me, and she said, nice show. Find out later that she really did like the show, and she was at that show that we did not think was very, very good. But we had held the audience, and they were laughing at points. It was not our best work. However, she really liked it. So go on to Sunday. First 2 shows real good. We're coming up on that same time slot, and we're like, okay, something's got to happen here, because we figured that they had been sitting there, and we like to hawk a crowd, so we're getting the audience to cheer, cheer, cheer. And at some point, it's almost like they're going, start the show, because most of that audience had been sitting there for 15 minutes already. So we did something a little differently. We cut out a lot of the beginning crowd hawking stuff and went straight to the show, and it made for a much better show. My long tirade about all this is because what this event is teaching us is that show could still be better. And it's showing us the weakness. Sometimes it's the little things to show you, hey, look, you can work on this part right here. It's not because anything's out to get you, but it's to show you how to make something better. And this was our example. This is one of the first times that we really took a serious look at it and go, maybe we should do something here. So we have a good show. But if we go somewhere where the audience doesn't know us and they're not going to accept everything we do and love everything we do, then they're not going to enjoy the ride as much. So if we want to make it into a great show, no matter who we go with, then we're going to have to tweak it. It's something that Chris Rock did. He had a show in Madison Square Gardens, and instead of just taking his material and going to the Madison Square Gardens, he started doing a small tour. And the jokes that he started with at the beginning of that tour were not the jokes that he wound up with. He weeded out all the jokes that did not get a laugh, so that by the time he got to Madison Square Garden, he was aces. Same thing with you. It's the little things. It's showing you where you need to weed your garden.
Right. That Alex actually told a great story along those lines. He told it before we did the panel to me personally. It's like, dude, you got to share that on the panel. That is why you podcast in the first place. And he's talking about a recent show that he and Manda did together. It was from comics to movies. And apparently they had a rough time recording it. They had to do it twice. It was just a very negative feeling show as far as the experience for them. And he had to edit, and it was a problem. And he felt like it was the worst show he ever did. And he said, you know what, but he almost didn't post it. But he's like, you know what, screw it. We're going to post it. And he posted it up, and it turned out to get really solid downloads, and they got their first speak pipe, honest to God speak pipe out of it. Somebody responded back to them. They started seeing more movement. And I said, see, that's what I've been telling you all along. And that's what's the beauty of what we're talking about here. You don't limit the universe. You don't hold back your goals. You go minimum, target, outrageous. Because sometimes when you put out what you think is not your best work, or even maybe the worst show you ever did, the world hears it in a different way. And they go, that's exactly what we needed right now.
Yeah.
That's why you write these goals in a way.
That's what you and I have experienced as well.
Right.
It's all about your perception. And your perception might be skewed because you're too close to it. That's why I like to listen to our shows again afterwards. And I will get a different take than while I'm doing it now. Because right now, I'm worried about half a dozen things. Or I'm thinking about half a dozen things as everything's going on. So I really don't know how this is coming off until I listen to it again.
Really? All I'm doing is thinking about our lovely listeners.
The ones that are calling in right now?
218-632-1724. That would be awesome if you wanted to share your little things. You're talking about reading a book. And see, it doesn't matter if you want to respond to something 20 minutes ago or from last week. We're all over the place tonight a little bit. And I'm reading a book given to me by a listener, and that's awesome. He donated it through the Amazon link. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But this is The Compound Effect. I can't remember the author's name, but it's by the editor and owner of Success magazine.
Right.
And this little blip I wanted to read because I thought about this show is one of the inspirations because I want to talk about this as well. It's about being lucky. And the author actually asked Sir Richard Branson if he felt luck played a part in his success. And Sir Branson's answer was, yes, of course we are all lucky. If you live in a free society, you're lucky. Luck surrounds us every day. We are constantly having lucky things happen to us, whether you recognize it or not. I've not been any more lucky or unlucky than anyone else. And here's why I wanted to talk about this. The difference is when luck came my way, I took advantage of it. And that really struck me. And then he makes this formula that he goes on to talk about that I won't dive into, but the formula is this. Preparation, personal growth. Okay, that's our preparation. Personal growth plus attitude, which is our belief or mindset, plus opportunity, which is a good thing coming your way, plus action as you doing something about it equals luck. You know, we say a lot of times being in the right place at the right time, showing up, blah, blah. I think a lot of that is personal growth and your belief mindset. Then you just, when the opportunity comes, you see it. And then you have to decide to act on it. I can't think of any stories right now. Maybe you have some, sir. I'm going to give you the talking stick. But I can't. I know there's been times when there opportunities have come my way, and either I didn't recognize them at the time, or I chose to not do it because of my mindset being I'm not good enough, or I can't, or it won't, or negative Nancy. I just don't have any set stories. Does that bring anything to mind for you, or any thoughts about luck here?
Yeah, absolutely. I keep thinking of the overnight success that took 20 years to get there, or 10 years to get there. Yeah, one of the rants that I keep saying on the other side of live lately is you not only have to be in the right place at the right time, but you have to be the right person in the right place at the right time, which means that you have to do that preparation. If you want to get that acting gig, if something's going to drop in your life, fine. You're going to stir the quantum soup, and you're going to make that right person come to you, and they're going to come to you, and they're going to go, yeah, you're the right guy. Let's see what you can do. You better be ready for that audition. You better be ready and know that script. You better be ready and know how to act and not overact on camera. So training. So you have to be the right person in the right place at the right time. You make your own luck. It's not about just waiting for something to drop and it's all easy. That's not what life is about. Life is not about everything being handed to you. If everything's handed to you all your life, you're just going to be a snotty little brat. And nobody's going to like you very much, and you're not going to have any self-respect.
I'm sorry, the snotty brat part tickled me. I don't know why. It's a great line. But yeah, there's something to be said about fortune or lucky or whatever. And like Sir Richard Branson said, if you live in a free society, you're lucky. Because yes, there are people who grew up in communist Russia or in West Germany. Or was it East Germany? Which one was locked down?
I actually have a friend of mine who was in East Germany, who grew up in East Berlin. And she, oddly enough, and she's done festivals over here and is a performer. And oddly enough, she says she liked East Berlin before. It was safer. So that's an odd perspective that we would not expect to hear.
Right. But I'm just talking about like opportunities. But because I want to build on what you talked about with you're talking about preparation. Look at those who their one shot was the Olympics. Being that the Olympics just finished up, their one shot was the Olympics, but they prepared their entire life, and they were ready when that opportunity opened. We can look around. You and I, to a point, compared to some of the rest of the world, we have it easy, because I can say I've had multiple opportunities come my way in my life to do what I want to do. in different paths in life. And I've missed some of them. I've taken action on some of them. I feel like you've probably been the same way. You've had opportunities. Some you've taken action on. Some you've missed. Some people only get the one. But one is all you need. If you prepare and your belief mindset is, it is going to come and I am ready. When it comes, you take that action. That's all you need. Sometimes the overnight success, because I'm with you. 99% of the time, it seems like, quote unquote, the overnight success is 20 years in the making, or 3 years in the making, or 5 years in the making. But sometimes it really is, hey, I just walked in, I was in the wrong place, and oh, there's an audition, so I did it, and oh, boom, look, I'm the new big star. But the fact of the matter is, they were prepared because they did something for the audition. Their mindset was, I can do this. The opportunity accidentally presented itself, and boom, they took action, right?
And what did they use to prepare? All the little things.
You know, you're absolutely right.
You know, maybe they just, you know, maybe they took care of their bodies. They took care of their tool, their acting tool. They took care of being able to be in front of a camera and know not just how to act, but also all the technicality of that. They do that naturally, and then they know where to look at for their think spots. And then since they know that, and that's become routine for them, they don't have to think about it. Then they can internalize, because when you're on camera, you can't act. You have to just feel. It has to be real. You got me watching the Glee Project now. And one of the notes that they gave about that was that it has to be real. You can't you can't act it, because the people need to be able to look at you and feel what you're feeling. And if you're not feeling anything, if you're overacting, it's going to seem not real.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to talk about T. Harv Eker and the fun incident I had with the money exercise?
I'm sorry.
Do you want to? We have some time. I know one of the things I wanted to talk about was the T. Harv Eker. I was listening to T. Harv Eker today in the Millionaire Mind that he talks about in the Secret Teachers, and I did this fun thing with the money exercise. You want to do that now?
Yep.
And I did this fun thing with the money exercise. You want to do that now?
I want to hear that. Also, don't forget that we need to talk about
T. Harv, man. He's awesome. He's very.
Don't forget we need to talk about Larry's feedback.
Don't forget. We did earlier. It was a goals show.
Oh, all right. Oh, yeah. No, that was Nolan. That was Nolan.
Before Nolan, there was Larry. Before Larry, there was God in the universe, and it was good.
My Swiss cheese brain.
It's fine. It's good. It's good. But see, the thing is, you're thinking about it, and you're like, I want to hear from Larry. I want to make sure we don't forget him. So it doesn't matter that you missed it. It matters that you're thinking about it, and that's awesome. So T. Harv Eker, very much a firecracker, very high-strung, very loud, and it's fun. But he got me going. He got me involved in the listening of this thing and participating. But he tells the audience to, I want to know if you did this when you listened to this book, but he tells the audience to take out a pen and paper, or maybe you did it mentally if you're on the road, and write down a number. 5 years from now, what do you want your annual personal income to be? And what do you want your net worth to be? Write down that number. Did you do this exercise, sir?
I believe I did, yeah.
Do you remember any of the details on it? Like what you wrote down?
I probably, yeah, I'm sure. I probably went for $1 million net worth and probably $160,000 a year, something like that.
Okay.
Or I probably went $100,000 a year.
Okay. All right. Well, you know me, Mr. Outrageous. That's me, Mr. Outrageous. So I'm like, I'm not trying to be too crazy, too out there, but what do I really in my heart is somebody, let's say Sir Richard Branson sat down and said, dude, I love what you do. I love what you guys do with Success Freaks and Tosol. And you know what? You tell me what you want to happen in the next 5 years. And what, you set your goals too low. Because that's the thing about T. Harv Eker. He says, it's not that you're not reaching your goals. It's that you're setting your goals too low and you're hitting them. So I'm taking all this in, and I'm believing it. I'm living and breathing it, and I'm picturing, okay, if I'm really being asked, what do I want in 5 years? and I'm Mr. Outrageous. And I'm not trying to do this as a character. I'm really saying, what do I want to put out in the universe? Because I write this down, it's going out to the universe. If I say this out loud, it's going out to the universe. What do I want to write down here? So I wrote down, in 5 years' time, I want my annual income to be $50 million a year. That's what I want. I want my net worth to be $150 million. And I thought maybe $150 million was low, but it's a big number. That's what I want. I'm living it. I'm breathing it. In 5 years, I can do that. I'm putting it out to the universe. It can be done. Right? So Harv Eker goes on, and he's talking about what's going on, with his point. He makes some other examples. And I don't know if you remember this part, but he comes back to the crowd and he says, okay, I want you to look at your piece of paper and you see what you wrote down there. And everybody, responds back. Now I want you to add a 0 to that. And I did. And it made me laugh, but in a great way. I was like, I thought too small. Because now it's $500 million a year is what I want in 5 years. And $1.15 billion net worth. And he's like, okay, how many people you went can't? Of course, that's not me. I just laughed going, that is awesome. And he goes, how many people did that number scare you? And I'm not knocking your numbers at all. But if you let's say you said you want to make $100,000 a year. Now you're making $1 million a year. Does that number scare you?
No, it doesn't scare me.
I wouldn't think so, but it does scare some people. And I just literally had that, sometimes even I can be outrageous.
Yep. Yes. And let's see what happens in 5 years.
All right, baby. 5 years, $1.15 billion net worth, $500 million a year. I think too small.
To our podcast audience, I believe that we have lost. We've lost.
Live is gone.
Live is gone. Yeah, I can hear them talking about the silence and everything. So this is just as we were saying, this is showing us that we need to do something better here, and it's the little things, and it also builds character. It was in the what was that movie with Buckaroo Banzai? The quote is, "Character is what you are in the dark."
Oh, that's an awesome quote.
So it's times like these that show. Now, at the beginning, I would be freaking out. I'd be trying to fix it or looking around. It's just like, this is what happens. This is what happens until we fix it. This is what happens until we change our bald tires. It's the little things, but it's also building our character. So,
and it can take us up. It can take us down.
Right. Now, did you want to talk about South by Southwest and the voting before we get into?
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
You talk about it.
So right now we have put forth we want to give a speech at South by Southwest, and you can go and vote on that speech, whether or not you're going to, whether or not you would attend that, and they take into account how many likes and dislikes you got for that speech, and we are going to go ahead and put a link on the show notes there, so you can check that out and you can vote on our speech.
Now that's the little thing for us. That's what we wanted to talk about, was not just ask for votes, which please do. Vote. I don't know if you can vote more than once. I don't remember the rules, but if you can, vote often. But at least vote once and tell your friends, share it, because both of us are like, we don't know how South by Southwest is going to happen for us.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know how. Especially, I don't know, because I was like, oh, we got our, the Tortuga Twins blue team. I'll just have one of those guys come in. And Jeff's like, you know what? They may be working somewhere else. So I really don't know how. That was perfect.
Java laughs at you.
However, I'm pushing forward with this as if.
Right, we're not letting the I don't knows and the negatives keep us back, because I'm the same way. I'll be honest, man. That is right at my wife's birthday, and it's right before my son's birthday. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. Taking time off. There's all these negatives that say, and we voiced them, wrongfully so. And people are calling in because I put up the number so they could listen live while we're still doing this. So letting you know that. That's why people are calling in the live number. But we voiced these negative opinions, but yet you overcame. And I want to say that. I didn't. You did. You overcame. You said, you know what, we need to do it anyway because it's an exercise. It's something else we've learned. It's a hurdle that we didn't say, what if? We're going to do this. I went, yes, sir. And you're right. Because even though neither one of us know how we're going to, if South by Southwest says, you are loved, all these people voted, we love your topic, you're coming. We don't know how we're going to work it out with work and money and everything else. We're not letting that stop us, though.
And I've also begun visualizing being there. Not only visualizing being there, but visualizing being there happy. So I'm not there and stressed out and worried about, I should be working the Tortuga thing, or this should be happening, or how can I afford for this? Just imaging everything happy and all the peripherals happy. My Tortugas are happy too. So.
Right. And we're back on the air. Look at that. Amazing.
That rocks.
I'm not sure if that was our end or if it wasn't, but we are back on.
But absolutely, that was the best content we've ever laid down. I'm sorry you missed it.
You're funny.
Now, I've never had a problem with regret, and we'll save that for another show, and we'll write it down. But you're talking about visualizing yourself being there, being happy, not stressing. Absolutely. Don't visualize it any other way.
Yeah, baby. So it's nice that we got back just in time to be able to pimp ourselves out.
So there you go. So pimp away. Oh, you lead with Amazon, and I'll pick it up.
Okay. We are on Amazon. Anybody who is interested and enjoys what we are doing, you can go to our Amazon Associates link. And if you purchase anything off Amazon, you can go there and order it, and it will not cost you anything more. And Amazon gives us a little kickback for that. So it's your way of saying thank you. We enjoy what you do, and we want to help the other side of life. And it's at absolutely no additional cost to you. It's something that Amazon does. So we provide a link for that. Just check out our Amazon affiliate link.
That would be, right now, it is on houseofthebear.com. It's also on facebook.com/BCNTOSOL, BCN Tosol. And you can find the Support Us tab. It is there. We're getting it put on Mordant World and the Other Side Live and everywhere else. But those are the two places you can find it. Also, if you'd like to step up your game and be a part of the dream, you can donate there as well. We don't ask you for your donations, but we definitely appreciate when you do. That's a bigger step. That's the dream. Crap, we had a name for it. It wasn't Dream Catchers. It was I don't remember. I'm sorry, but basically, you step up. It helps us out. You're a part of the dream. We appreciate it. Anyway, John Lee Hart, thank you for shopping through our Amazon link and helping us out. Appreciate that. Find me, House of the Bear. All my stuff's there. What about you, sir?
We are live every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time at the mordantworld.com/NAS. And, of course, the NAS stands for No Agenda Stream. If you are listening to us live and you want to check older versions, you can go to theothersideoflive.com, and we are also available on iTunes.
That's right. I've got a new House of the Bear newsletter coming out with guest star our Mordant Ma doing a very special video for us, and that will be released probably this coming Monday is where we're shooting for release. Talks about everything that's gone on so far and what's to come, and it's going to be a lot of great articles. And you'll have the ability to subscribe. Just hit me up on Facebook. You can do it on the BCN Tosol page or facebook.com/House of the Bear.
Right. Well, thank you for tuning in tonight. Is there anything else we need to pimp out?
I think that's it.
Thank you for tuning in tonight to It's the Little Things, yo. This has been our Mordant Mon.
And the hand on my pen, Bear, because I don't think of anything right now.
Ciao, Dream Catchers.
So raise your glass if you
Do it.
Boom, baby.
Boom, baby.